Hi, everyone. Here we are back again with our beautiful and wonderful Colleen Pearl, the cool Crone, which we absolutely love her. And I'm so happy to have her back for part two of the best interview because we got to talking so much we didn't really get to a lot of the interview part.
I think that was my fault. I think I just was blabbing too much. I think
No,
it would have been good.
No, you just said so many things that were fun to talk about. I had to throw my 2 cents worth in, but I'm so happy to have you here. And Val, if you don't know me, Dragonfly Crystals, like and subscribe to the Cool Crone and Dragonfly Crystals and Next Level Channeling if you haven't already. And please leave a comment after because it really helps with the algorithms. Absolutely, 100%. So thank you all for being here. And, I have to say, you guys were here a long time before we started. So thank you, Janet. Appreciate that. And Connie B. Hi, Tarot Stash. Gerald, nice to have you here. Rhonda Q.
Just reading all the stuff.
Love and JR. Margot. Yeah. Connie B, thank you guys for being here. So I'm sure more people will funnel in. So here we are. Oh, here's JR. If I don't say hi to you, I'm just going to concentrate, I'm sorry, on the cool Crone to finish the story about, we want to look into the internal story. We know some of the childhood things. We got to that part about, we know that you were really a child who was already looking into those things that are mysterious and hidden, and that you grew up in a family where everyone had psychic gifts of one version or another. And so you really grew up with that. It wasn't even something you had to go, well, what's that? It was, well, who doesn't have that?
Yeah. Although, my oldest brother, who actually ended up making his living as a clairvoyant, he went through a phase. He was just very, very yang and just kind of like straight ahead into the material world. Like that's just where he went. But he was an Aries and he was always very focused on being the best, being first, doing it better than anybody else, So he had that thing going on. But, once he hit college, I think the seeds of his journey, I guess, started when he was in his late teens. And by the time he was in college, he was full blown. Well, it was the mid 60s. So, I mean, he couldn't very well escape what everybody else was talking about around him. And he didn't miss any of it. He graduated from high school in 1964 and he went to Stanford and he spent a year in Germany, of course, learning German and Russian so that he could go live in Germany. He actually looked up some of our long lost relatives that nobody knew existed. He didn't live with them, but he did visit with them and make connections with them. And later in his life, he went back to Germany and Russia. So,
wow.
Yeah. But,
wow, he must have been brilliant if he went to Stanford.
He was brilliant. He was, but also kind of like an evil genius, that's brilliant too. And he was there and studying with Dr. Timothy Leary.
Oh, wow.
And he was involved.
LSD captain of the world.
Yeah, he was very much involved with that. And I think that helped him expand his mind. And
that's what it really originally, it was for therapy.
Yeah.
And all of that. So it was a mind expanding in a controlled environment. It was meant to do that very thing and treat people.
Well, I don't know how controlled it was in Haight-Ashbury.
Yeah, I didn't hear that it was very controlled.
not really a controlled situation, but he did all the 60s things. He did all the protesting and burning his draft card, and that,
Of course.
yada yada. There's a whole book right
Rite of passage.
Just the thing about my brother and my dad, that's a whole book right there. But he started going to India, and that mellowed him out a lot. And that was he didn't sit down and like teach me stuff because I was too young, but he did. He gave me little gifts that were provocative, like why why did you give me this? What is this about? And he would tell me, how it was made or where it came from or something like that. He influenced me a lot. And then he turned out to be just kind of a not great person. but
That is just that's an amazing story in itself. And maybe one day you can, write a book about that, because from the perspective of someone who was brilliant and just decided to take a different pathway or a different road at the end of all of this, to coalesce to that choice is an interesting thing, especially after being in India.
Just weird the way he made those choices. And it would make an interesting book. I'm not sure that I have enough perspective on who he was, but I could write it from my perspective.
Exactly. It would be from the sister perspective, definitely.
Just not knowing where things were going. But so he was a big influence on me.
Yeah, that's an amazing story in itself. Fascinating. But I mean, you yourself have a lot of education, and it's all in musical theater and the arts. And I
walked into my parents' bedroom one day when I was about, I don't know, 10 years old, and I said, "We've got to move to California, specifically to Hollywood." And my parents were like, "Why? I have a thriving medical practice here. We're perfectly happy. We have a beautiful home. Why would we move?" And I said, "Well, I'm getting too old to become the next Shirley Temple. So we got to go now." Because that was my dream, was to become a,
How old do you think you were when you did that?
About 10 or 12 or something. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I've been performing since I was like 4. And I really
did you do musical theater or?
Oh yeah, I did a ton of musical theater. Yeah, I was I did I did theater and music all the way through high school, and then when I got to college, I focused more on music, but of course that led into doing musicals. And so I was very serious about my music, and I was very serious about my acting. And then I went to NYU. I got into NYU. They've got like 4 different drama schools. I got into the Circle in the Square drama school.
Wow.
And that was just acting, and I loved that. Oh my God. I just thought that was great. And I learned a lot. But I got sick in my second year, so I was unable to graduate. So I came home to get better, and then I didn't want to go back. And then I joined a band with my brother, and we toured for about a year on the West Coast. And that was fun. That was really fun.
So what was the name of your band?
Hip Pocket.
Hip Pocket?
Hip Pocket.
So I wonder if we could find remnants of that anywhere.
No, probably not. No, it was. We timed it just right to be just as disco was overtaking all the live clubs.
Oh yeah.
So we timed it just right.
Like, what genre was your music? Acoustical, the guitar, or electric?
No, we did club music. I mean, we did dance music. We did like what did we do? We did like the Doobie Brothers and Shaka Khan, and
I love all that music.
Donna Summers, and we did what was popular then. Whatever was popular, we did a cover, and we had a good response from all the places that we played, but it was just a everybody was going to disco because it was cheaper. It was easier than having to hire live bands and
Yeah.
put them up in a hotel and all that, feed them and all that stuff. So, there goes Val's feed. So I'll just keep blabbing about this. So, so we ended up doing that for about a year, and at one point, I met a guy that I thought was going to be my next husband. So we the band kind of came to an end, and I moved back in with my sister in Seattle, and so did my new boyfriend. So we lived there for a year and a half, and my new boyfriend was a mortician. Yes, it's true. He was a mortician. That was fun. Um, I never had him do my makeup. I would not let him do my makeup. But we were engaged. We were going to get married, and I went home for Christmas with him one year to meet his family. And I decided we were not going to get married after that. So I came back to Seattle, went back to school, finished up my degrees, and then tried out for a professional theater training program at Temple University, and I got into that. And so I moved to Philadelphia. So then I was in Philadelphia for a while. So when I finished up in Philadelphia, which, that's a whole book in itself, I finished up in Philadelphia, and I moved to New York, and I met my my first husband, sorry. And we lived all over Brooklyn. I had my two kids, and then that went to shit. And then I divorced him, and I moved. I met my next husband. I have just been telling my history here. So
Thank goodness that you know how to host a show. Sorry, everyone. My Cox, my internet provider, has been having problems. And usually it only happens once an hour. So that was our outage for the hour.
Fantastic.
Sorry about that.
Fantastic.
So I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go back and listen to what you were talking about.
Yeah, well, it was just fascinating. I'm sure everybody will tell you.
No, but I listen, everyone. If you haven't heard, and I'm sure you probably have, but if you haven't heard Colleen's voice, it is just gorgeous. I mean, talk about someone who is a professional singer. She is definitely that, absolutely 100%. And I'm just surprised you don't do some things even now.
I like doing this, and it's fun. It's really fun. I every once in a while I'll throw out a happy birthday or a little song here or there, but it's this is more of my focus now. I love singing, and I love music, and I love making music, but the lifestyle of making music is horrible. It's it's all working nights, and you're lugging equipment, and I could care less about that.
Yeah, it's not too fun from that aspect.
No.
But I mean, if somebody said, we've got a part for you in this musical, and it was some musical you adore, would you do it?
I'd find a way to do it. Yeah, I would definitely find a way to do it. Yeah,
absolutely. So, can you name some of the musicals you've been in?
Oh, sure. I've done The Sound of Music. Done Pirates of Penzance. I've done South Pacific. I've done a really old one called Wonderful Town. We did an operetta by Leonard Bernstein called Troubles in Tahiti. I've done a lot of, not full operas, but a lot of scene work from operas, because I studied opera in order to learn how to use it.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Yeah. Oh my first formal vocal training was all focused on opera. And then but I had played the piano since I was a kid. I had played the piano since I was really, really young. And I had always just played the songs that, I'd play my regular assignments, but then I would go to the music store and I would get sheet music for popular music. And then I would just kind of enhance that. And so that I could sing along with it. So I did a lot of Joni Mitchell and a lot of Carole King, and really anything that was popular that I liked, I would try to play it and sing it. and I really love doing that. But I'm also, I was in theater, so I like to dance, and I did choreography, and I liked acting. So I think really probably acting is what I was probably best at. But I really wanted to be like the next Whitney Houston or something. And I got good responses with music, but when I was acting, I got it didn't seem to me like I was doing enough when I was acting, and yet I got a really good response when I was acting.
Probably because you were so into each part and doing it so um, unconsciously, just
Maybe,
beautifully. And that's when somebody is so good that you become the part, you become that character, and it's so flawless. I just, I mean, I know you would be that way, and I can't believe how good you are at everything. Now you're just, oh well, yeah. If it comes, I do that musical part, and like, and you sing like a dream, and you're like, oh well, yeah, I like it, but I mean, people would kill for your talent.
well, my family, I mean, every my brothers, well, one of my brothers passed now, but my brothers and my sister were all musical, like wunderkinds, like they could play any instrument they picked up. I just played one, two, yeah,
Wow,
piano and my voice. That's all I could play.
wow, that is amazing. I can't do any, so from my perspective, you're like a miracle. But
Well, you should ask Cleo sometime. She plays guitar, piano, drums.
wow,
She
oh
writes,
wow,
does recording.
drums.
Yeah, she started out well, we all started out on the piano. My parents gave us all piano lessons. I think just to kind of like have somebody else watch us for a while. They're like, here, we'll pay the piano teacher. She'll keep them busy. And um, but so Kathy had piano, or Cleo had piano lessons, and then she went straight to the drums because she really liked the drums. And I think it was a way for her to get out some aggression too. But she was very good at the drums. She took lessons. She studied with some really good drummers around Seattle, and she was really, really good at it.
She seems like she would be good at it.
She's very creative. She's very, very creative. And when she started writing and recording her own music, sometimes I would record with her, but I've lived in all these different places. So a lot of times I wasn't around.
Yeah.
But she's really good. So Wayne Rich, I'm getting that you're a guitar player.
Yeah.
There's little guitar emojis in there.
Everybody wants music, but nobody wants to pay what they should.
No, same. It's the same problem as with the actors in AI. Nobody wants to pay for all the skill that they bring to the table because
Yeah.
it's a lot of work to get to be a good actor.
Yeah. Very, very true. Very true. And you went to some really wonderful educational musical venues.
Yeah, I did. I mean, NYU is that's not chopped liver.
No, it isn't chopped liver at all. It has cred.
Yeah, it does. And I had studied at the University of Washington, which also has a really primo program. And then I ended up doing my graduate work at Temple University, which also had a professional program. And that was a really good, that was really fun. When I was there, there was the head of the program had a friend who wrote musicals, and he actually wrote a musical with me having like a really big role, and it was a Greek tragedy. I'm like, how perfect. Please put me in there as like Medea weeping and wailing. I would love it. It was so great. It was so fun. And then when I graduated and I got into New York and I wanted to call him up, he just blew me off. I'm like, Rafe, you wrote this whole piece for me. I'm nothing to you now. I was nothing.
Oh my God, that is weird.
It's that part of the showbiz. It is really weird.
It is really weird. It's a weird situation, that's for sure. And probably you're exactly where you need to be in the spiritual realm of life. You ended up here instead of, giving people pleasure by performing, you are engaging people and expanding, letting us expand with your words of wisdom. So that's probably.
And singing and acting and dancing, it does take you to a higher vibe. So
Yeah.
I was allowed to stay in that very high vibe
Yeah.
all through that, so that was really good. I think the only time I've really felt like I came down was when things were really going bad in my marriages, which were pretty bad, but that's okay. That's done.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yep.
Because I knew we've all pretty much, a lot of us have had all those experiences.
Yes.
I know I have.
That does not need to make it into the book. That could.
No, we aren't going to write any. Nah, we don't need to have that star in our show.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. Wayne is saying, I don't play because I'm great. I play music.
Because
music is great, and I want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, that is really true. And
I feel that way too, Wayne. I feel that way too. If I can just touch it a little bit, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand that. And imagine being someone who has no singing voice, who adores music and adores singing. I am that person, and I absolutely would never sing in front of anyone, but I have that love for singing. I love to see musical theater. I love people that sing. Like if you were singing in a smoky piano bar setting, I would go see you. If you were in New York, I'd get on a plane and go fly and see you.
Well, I have done that in years past. I have done that smoky piano bar, and I've done
anymore.
I've done cabaret. I've done, I used to call it Off Norway. I've done a few Off Norway shows.
Off Norway?
They're so far off Broadway.
So far off, it's in Norway.
Norway. It's just off Norway. We'll just call it that.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, so then as that came to a close in your life, that chapter of that music, and you were probably concentrating on getting yourself together after XYZ and XYZ.
Yeah.
What did you just concentrate on, moving forward with life one step in front of the other and working? You had to work in the 3D world.
Yeah.
And there too, you were super accomplished. So
I always worked. I didn't have the luxury of not working, especially once I had my kids.
Yeah.
Even with my first husband, I was the breadwinner. He didn't work. So I was supporting all of us. In the second marriage, at least he worked, but I was still contributing a good share to the household. And once I got my second divorce, I was really focusing on spirituality. Was really a big thing for me. I was like, no, I'm going to find a coven. I'm going to really focus. I'm going to surround myself with like-minded people and no more of this BS of, because both of my husbands, when I met them, said, oh, I think it's great that you're a witch. I think that's so cool. And then I'd go and do witchy things and they'd be like, how can you do that in my house? I'm like, who are you? Do you know me? Because we talked about this. You were cool with this. In fact, you loved this. In fact, you wanted me to do spells for you. So
he was just trying to close the deal.
I think so. Both of them, same thing. And I'm like, you are really two-faced here. This is really terrible. So,
well, that's what happens when one doesn't present their authentic self when they start a relationship and they are not living in the truth of who they are. Then they have to backstep out.
No doubt about it. My second husband just wanted somebody to raise his kids.
There you go. And you know what? He may not have consciously said that, but
he knew it. He knew it. He definitely knew it. And you know what? I enjoyed the journey of getting to know them and mothering them and helping them through adolescence. But his oldest daughter was already through adolescence, but the other 4 kids were ages 11 to 15.
Wow.
Or 10 to 15.
Wow. Those are the angsty years,
Yeah.
and a lot of trauma and a lot of growing pains. And so, did you mentor the kids through all of that?
I did.
Wow.
I did. Yeah.
You were lucky.
They were a mess. They were just a mess, but we got through it. And, when I got done, when I, finished my tour of duty, as it were, then I was just like, okay, now it's all for me. And I still had my 2 girls, but my 2 girls were like, yeah, Mom, let's get out of here. Let's go do it, because that's a lot cooler. So that's what we did. So we left. I was able to, it took me about a year to get everything together, but I was able to buy a house in the same town so they could stay in their schools, and we did it. And through that, I was beginning to study with a coven and taking classes and stuff. And that was very comforting to me. Very, very comforting to me. And it was friendship. There was a lot of other women. There were men too, but there was a lot of other women. And I just really wanted to be around that. So very, very calming and healing and helpful at that period in my life.
Yeah. So it gave you something beautiful that was enriching to your life to put your focus and attention on, which is so positive.
Yeah.
And that is so nice that you were able to bring that forward so quickly after all of that, and not waste any time. So
not really. It went pretty quick, and it was really good.
Yeah, definitely. So after you found your coven, did you feel like, say, a year later, like you were standing fully, or maybe even before that, in a good spot so that you had your springboard to go? Or did you already feel like you knew what your path was going to be? Did you have that feeling?
I always knew kind of what my path would be. I always knew that I was a witch, and that was a lifelong study of self-development. And I also knew that as I got closer to retirement, I would start doing astrology again. I had never really stopped, but I didn't put a big focus on it. And now I could put more of a focus on it. And so about a year after I moved out of my second husband's house, I was looking for houses, and I found a house that had a nice big flat backyard. And I thought, this would be perfect for gatherings. I think I should get this house. And I moved in, and 3 months later, we had Hurricane Irene. And it filled up my basement like a bathtub and took all the shit that I had in my basement and ruined it. But you know what? My mom had just died. My uncle had died a few years before that. My dad a few years before that. And I had all their shit. It's just like, I guess I really don't need all their shit anymore.
I love your perspective. And it's so healthy, and really, you can't take it with you, and then nobody else wants it.
No, nobody else wants it. And it was an amazing display of like angelic humanity. The town just, I wasn't a part of any of the churches.
And they helped you.
We had church groups came out and helped me clean up my backyard. People came by and gave us, bags full of groceries and gift cards for the grocery store. And I was like, I didn't lose my job. We just had a flood, but I didn't say that. I was just like, thank you.
Of course, you're going to accept that beautiful energy.
Yeah, it was really, really sweet. I mean, I had to pay for a lot of stuff too, but I was real quick to call the insurance company. I knew them. I had just started my business with them because I just bought the house. So kind of, we were on a first name basis, sort of. And within the next few days, the SBA, the Small Business Association, sent a representative to my house to ask me if I needed a loan. And I said, well, but I work for somebody else. And they said, but don't you have a business of your own? I said, well, I do, as a matter of fact, but I mean, not now. It's kind of wiped out. And they said, well, that's exactly why we want to give you a loan.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, universe, you wily little devil, you.
We're going to help you do your cool Crone business.
Before you even know that you
don't even know you didn't even let the door shut.
I hadn't even named it by then. It was just, I'm going to do my astrology business and my card business. I just went under my name.
And that was divinely guided.
Over the next 5 years, I ran that business. At one point, I had a partner. We had a separate name, and then I ended the partnership, and then it was just me. And then somewhere along the way, I landed on the name The Cool Crone, and I called it The Cool Crone, and everything became The Cool Crone. But it was crazy, So with the Hurricane Irene wiping out everything in my basement, I didn't have anything in my basement.
Yeah.
So it became, one half of my basement became our temple.
Wow.
And we just used the space on that one half of the basement. We got odd chairs, and I hung up tapestry things all over the walls, kind of walled it off, and turned it into our temple.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Things have a way of, if you look at everything as a silver lining, but that was pretty clear that was a good thing. It got rid of the crap that you got. Oh, whoops! It's destroyed, so I've got to get rid of it.
Yeah. So that's it. So
it's not like you have to hold on to it now for all the other people who won't want it, and you're going to pass it down to them.
That was in 2011 with Hurricane Irene.
Yeah.
We started having, it was late in the year. It was like August. And in early 2012, we had our first ritual at my house in the, I think the first one was in the basement. And we didn't have chairs or anything. We just had a table set up for the altar, and we all stood for the whole ritual because
when you did that first ritual, tell people what a beautiful thing, so they understand what that really is like in the general sense,
Well, it was probably because it was pretty early in the year, but I don't think it was January. So I'm going to say this was probably Ostara. So it was about this time of year, the spring equinox, the vernal equinox. And we are a teaching coven. So we rotate who does each ritual. So somebody had been working probably for several months on developing, a whole, story about the ritual, and maybe a meditation, maybe an activity or a craft. They've been, working really hard at developing the whole outline of what this ritual was going to be about. At that point in time, we invited the public to come to our rituals, and we served a dinner after the ritual.
Wow.
And so, in my little itty bitty kitchen, we served these dinners. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, my house isn't big, but if you take a whole basement with nothing in it, you have quite a bit of space. And my backyard is really big. Yeah. So what happened is that something fell through with where they were going to hold the ritual. And so I just said to my high priestess, you could use my basement. And I said, I know I'm not formally in the coven yet, but, I'd be happy for you to use the space. So she came over and she looked at the space and she said, yeah, I think this will work really well. And it was very weird because I couldn't be privy to their pre-work. I had to leave them alone in my basement so they could get everything ready. And then I came in like a member of the public, but it wasn't very long before I had dedicated to the coven, and then I got initiated, and then later I got a degree, first degree, and so I mean, it was fine. It was really nice. It was
So
really
you have, as you join, you have stages of your, just like in joining anything,
yeah,
your levels of learning and experience.
yeah.
So
So
that's cool.
you have to take a course that when I took it, it took a year to
Mhm.
get through the course. Now they do it in a few months, but
Wow.
you take a course to just introduce you to the various tenets of Wicca, and the various tenets of how our coven does Wicca, and then you can sort of pledge yourself as a dedicant. So
Right.
you do that, and then you spend about a year as the dedicant, and then you are initiated into the coven, but no degrees. And then once you have accomplished, there's a couple of different things that you have to accomplish before they let you become a first degree. And then once you're first degree, you can just stay first degree unless you want to start your own coven. And if you want
Mhm.
to do that, then you have to train to go through second degree and then third degree. It's kind of like Reiki a little bit. And
Yeah.
then once you're third degree, you can teach, you
Right.
can have a coven and all of that stuff.
And when you do a ceremony, for instance, are you bringing in the blessings of whatever the time
Oh,
period
oh
is? Or,
yeah. So when we do a ceremony, we set up a sacred space, and we usually pay special attention to
Mhm.
the quarters, the different directions.
Yeah.
And we have angels that we ask to come in and protect the directions, and we also ask in elementals. And
Mhm.
then we usually, who's ever running the coven will invite in our patron god and goddess for the coven, and then they also usually invite in a guest deity pertaining to the ritual, whatever it is, like
Mhm.
Ostara. A lot of times people will bring in um not Freya, Eoster. Sorry, I'm just like blowing my, forgetting. And then they go through the whole thing with whatever
Mhm.
they want to do, a meditation or whatever. And then we have cakes and ale, and then we close the circle, and then we go up and have dinner, or we fix a plate and we come downstairs and eat because there's not enough places to sit in my upstairs. It's a
So,
small.
as you're doing a ceremony, for instance, are you all joining in to bring in the bounty of that, or you're bringing in what?
It depends
What?
on the Sabbath. Like Ostara is all about fertility and
Okay,
new beginnings,
new beginnings.
like
Yeah.
that Aries energy that's going
Yeah.
on. Um, and so usually the person will tell a story about the Sabbath, and it doesn't have to be the same one every time. A lot of people will pull from different pantheons. Like some people will focus maybe on Greek, or
Mhm.
they'll focus on Norse or Hawaiian or Indian or Chinese or Mexican or South American. I mean, there's a lot of countries in South
Yeah.
America, so I mean, it would be a specific country in South America. So they pick a way to express the Sabbath, and that kind of becomes the theme. And then they just do everything around that. And so the people who are participating, they participate when there's like a group response, like so mote it be, so mote it be. Everybody
Yeah.
knows that,
Right.
stuff like that. But it's the person acting as the high priest or priestess that tells the story and leads the
Mhm.
meditation, and
Mhm.
and leads the activity and all of that, and blesses the bread and brew and all of that stuff.
So
So
that job can rotate through your group, or
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
rotates through. So when you
Mhm.
start as a dedicant, you don't do a lot except for just come to
Mhm.
rituals. When you have studied, and you take classes still with the high priestess,
Yeah.
and when you've reached a certain level, then you're initiated, and then you learn a few more things that you can do. Then you can come, once you're initiated, then you can come to the pre-work. And the pre-work is supposed to be pretty much what you're doing on a daily basis to rewire your brain and rewire the synapses so
Mhm.
that you
Mhm.
are really able to focus, connect to your higher self, use your third eye, open up your crown chakra, open up all your chakras and balance them, but mainly opening up your crown chakra. and then whatever other gifts that you have usually begin to develop pretty naturally from there.
Yeah.
And then as you go on and do a few more things, then you get to becoming first degree. And once you do that, I think it's first degree when you start doing high priestess duties for each of the
Right.
Sabbats, and you're expected to do all 8 of them.
Mm.
And then they can progress you on to leading either a full or a new moon, which are called SBATs. And for the last 2 years, we've been gathering for the new moons rather than the full moons, because so many of the full moons had fallen very close to the Sabbats, and it was like, oh, we're meeting today and in 2 days. It just didn't make sense. So, but I think we're going to have to switch it again, because we're coming up now this year. It's like we meet for a Sabbat, and a week later we meet for the SBAT.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, I don't want to clean my house that often.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about having them come to your house. I was just thinking, does pre-work involve the whoever is involved in the pre-work almost setting the space for everything? Like you've got your altar and you're creating that environment, not just with your own connection, but the connection with the whole entire room and everything there.
Correct. And
so it's like creating the space for those who will come in. And yeah,
that's right. So
that's big work for someone to do that.
So but it's easier to do when you're with a group, because you've all been trained in the same tradition, and you all know the same secret handshakes and the same special words, and so it just makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's powerful work. So, and especially if you get food after. But,
that's right. And, and if you know anything about Wicca, you know that a lot of it does focus on the Celtic side of things, and really folk magic, which is referred to not in a derogatory sense, but it's referred to as low magic, mainly because it has more to do with your body. It's in your body. It's of the earth. It's down here.
Yeah. And I notice you call in the elementals, which we're part of that elemental kingdom as being part of the earth in our earthly vessel. Yes. So I love that aspect of the work you do.
Yeah.
And we call in gods and goddesses and angels.
Yeah. And we also do high magic and base a lot of our stuff off of what has been done with the Golden Dawn. Not completely. None of us would qualify for the Golden Dawn. They're so strict. But we do use a lot of their ceremony magical practices. And that takes us up into, the really interesting stuff. So
hear about.
Yeah, that's all the secret handshake stuff. But no, it's just it helps you connect so much easier to I guess you could call it the higher realms. I don't know. I mean, to those, I don't know, those different things. I don't know.
Nope, that sounds fantastic. I love that. And it's so interesting to hear about that, the coven and the work that you all do, because really we all in the world, those of us who have spiritual pursuits in particular, we all have ceremonies, and even people in religions have ceremonies. We all do those rituals, there's ceremonies around the world, and I don't care what religion or spiritual practice you are in, even meditation is a form of a ritual. And, so we have so much in common with everything. So no matter what the name.
That how many people really are, I think people kind of took it for granted. Like when I was a kid, depending on what church your family went to, which my family was really bad at it, so we didn't do that. But if you were Catholic, you did so and so, and you didn't eat fish or you ate fish on Fridays, and you didn't eat meat, and a couple of other things. So they did the Lent thing and all of that stuff. And then if you were anything else, everybody was just like, they'd glaze over, like they don't know what you do. But they knew, everybody who wasn't Catholic kind of knew what the Catholics did, because there was a lot of them around. And we had a lot of Catholic churches in the area, but we also had like Presbyterian, Protestant, maybe Methodist or something. But nobody knew what they did.
I mean, you definitely, Catholic, even I know all the things Catholics too. Plus, I've been in a few Catholic churches along the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. So I love this part of your life where you came out of the marriages and you're in your own beautiful energy, learning all this new beautiful things that expand your world and expand your horizons, and you become more powerful, and all this stuff starts to happen. You're already in a home, you've already gotten rid of stuff. Spirit just opened up and said, oh, we're going to make this whole space and you're going to get all new things in this space.
That's right.
I mean, they even sent you the loan.
Yeah, they did. It was crazy. It was just
the Small Business Administration loan.
Was paying for a bunch of stuff too. So, but I did use that loan. I mean, there was a lot of costs that I had to do additional cleanup, and that was a weird time. And then the next year we had Hurricane Sandy, and while that didn't flood me, I was without power for almost a month.
Oh my gosh, is that right?
Yeah.
Did you get a generator? What did you do?
We lit candles and we knitted
for a month. Oh my gosh, such fortitude. I'm just like mind boggled how you got up for work every day.
That was not fun.
I mean, no curling iron, no hair.
We went to trying to think if we stayed in Irene. We did stay at somebody else's house for like a month. We stayed out of the house.
Yeah, Irene was big.
Yeah, and my friends don't live there anymore, so I didn't have them to go back to. But yeah. I'm trying to think if we even left the house. I think I might have gone. I can't remember how we did everything, but we got through it. But we just didn't have power. So I don't know. I don't know how I must have gone to other people's houses for showers or something, because I can't.
Yeah, because who wants to shower in freezing cold water?
You can't. You can't.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, it was cuckoo, but yeah, we got through it.
Oh my gosh. That's you're a trooper. Going through all that, and I don't know how you did it.
Yeah. I don't know either now, and I think maybe that's a blessing that I don't remember it. Maybe it was horrible. I don't know. My daughter probably remembers. I'll ask her.
So, how long ago did you start your YouTube channel?
I started during COVID. Like everybody else. My friend had been bugging me to do it for 4 years before that, and I finally got the nerve to do it in 2020. I also incorporated my business on January 2nd of 2020.
Oh,
not knowing that COVID was coming. And then I had a lot of time to do stuff, but my first videos were pretty funny. My girlfriend directed me and shot them for me, filmed them for me. And we had a friend of ours who had a bunch of sound equipment, and he did the sound. And then I was like, well, wait, are you guys going to come back so I can do another video, or you're just going to leave me with one video?
So self-sustaining in that format.
Oh my God. So, that was kind of a nightmare. It was a fun video, I guess. I remember talking about Congress and Nancy Pelosi. That was a fun.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to, is it still up? I'm going to have to.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to go find that.
Yeah, it was out in my backyard. And then my daughter came to the rescue, and because I bought a camera, and then but the camera that I bought, for some reason, it didn't have a microphone, and it didn't have anything to plug a microphone in. And I'm like, well, if you think that I'm going to be able to sync an audio track to a video track all alone with no software, So I struggled. I'm very stubborn sometimes, and I was just being very stubborn. Finally, I ditched that camera and started doing it on my phone. And my daughter helped me. She's the one who went and figured out lights and stuff, got me to buy lights. And once I bought the lights and I kind of got an idea of how we would do this, then I was like bananas with it. Then I was like, okay, now I need a ring light, then I need a special microphone, and now I'm going to put this and that, and it's going to be a special room, and blah, 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 blah. So it took me a while to actually move everything upstairs. I had everything in the basement for just, I think maybe 6 months is all.
That's not
Then,
long.
and then I started, and I realized because at work, we were doing all this Zoom stuff for COVID. And I was like, well, I like those little webcams. I'm going to get one of those. And I did. And that's what I use. I have 2 of them and I really like them. I didn't like the sound from them though. It took me a while to figure out sound, but I did that. I finally figured it out. And yeah, so it worked out.
Yeah, it did. Look at you. And now look at how many subscribers you have. I don't know where you're at now, but 4,000 something, almost you're getting to 5,000.
I'm very close to 5,000.
Yes,
so I got a
close.
funny comment on one of our shows. I think it was last week. It was somebody in the chat who she was not very happy with us. And she said something to the effect of like, well, you go ahead and watch this channel if you're really, you go ahead and watch this liberal blue channel if you want to. But this is why you only have 4,700 subscribers. And I thought,
thank you.
You're just now figuring out, first of all, that we're a blue liberal channel. Like, what rock have you been living under? And second of all, I am fucking grateful for that 4,700 people.
That's a lot. I mean, I've got 13, so 1,300. So I'm like,
yeah, and I'm
5,000 is huge.
And who is this person who thinks that that's a diss to me? Where's your channel?
That's like that's an advertisement, folks.
Yeah.
Thank you for advertising that. Yeah.
I didn't even respond. I was just like, oh, you just don't get it. You know, whatever. That's okay. Wayne Rich, is there anything that Colleen can't do?
That's right. That's right.
Many things I cannot do. Many things I cannot do. Yeah.
Not many. None that I've seen. I mean, I'm right with you, Wayne. Totally. I agree with that. So here you are, and you are doing your beautiful services for others that on your website people can go and they can partake of different things. Can you tell us a little bit about what those services are?
Oh, wow. Okay. So, I do astrology. Okay. So I do astrology, and I offer, this year we're offering, instead of 2-hour readings, we're offering 1-hour readings. And it's a slightly less expensive fee. Because I just thought, not everybody can hang around for 2 hours. And so, we'll do that. I do natal astrology, which is looking at your birth chart and just looking at your potential and the general arc of what's going to be going on in your life. I also do a future forecast where I look ahead. Usually it's about 6 months, but sometimes, like yours, it can go out a lot farther. It depends on what's going on with the planet. Sometimes you can see out that far, but I don't guarantee that. I just guarantee I'll look at least at the next 6 months. And so that's astrology. And I'm taking a course in medical astrology, but it's going to take me a long time to get through it. So that might be next year I offer medical astrology. That's definitely not 2024. Because the course goes till November.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah, a long time. So I do, tarot card readings. I can do, I can focus on just about anything that you want with tarot, but I also have oracle cards that I can use. And I also use little, I love these cards.
And you do Western astrology. Somebody's asking what type of astrology.
Western astrology, but I have switched to whole sign houses. So I use these little guys. These are, they look kind of like Rider-Waite. They're by the same artist. Are Lenormand cards done up to look like Rider-Waite. Isn't that cute? So I do those, and I do also Kipper cards, which is kind of a German version of Lenormand, and I have lots and lots of different types of cards. Like I have whole bunches of cards that are all geared towards fairies, and I have whole bunches of cards that are all geared towards angels, and I have a whole bunch of cards that are geared towards the galactics. So I used to do videos with, actually I ended up not doing any fairy videos, but I did angel card readings and UFO readings, I guess you'd call them, but I'd call them galactic readings. And I think I named them ET. Just I don't really like that term, but to get people to understand on YouTube what they were, I just called them ET readings.
Sure.
So I've done those readings, and I also read with playing cards, and that's called Egyptian readings, and so I do those too. And I do past life regressions, and that's really, I think, kind of almost the same thing as an Akashic record reading.
Pretty much, I would say it really would be deep, and you'd be getting a lot cleared away by hearing about it, as you delve in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do something that I call cosmic clairvoyance. When you make an appointment for that, I do a meditation and I get messages for you. And then when you come into the reading, I talk you through the same meditation and let you get messages for yourself. And then we compare notes, and sometimes I'll pull a card or two if I think it's going to be helpful. So those are pretty much what I do. I mean, I used to have on there that I could do the Voyager whole life mandala readings, because Voyager cards are really cool. Really cool. This guy must have done psychedelics, because the way he created these cards, I don't know how. I mean, they're computer generated collages done with photographs, most of it photographic images, and they are just astounding for tarot, just astounding.
I'm going to have to look those up.
They're
making me drool.
They're very large. They're kind of hard to, I mean, honestly, the deck that I originally had was even larger than the ones I had now. When I went through that flood with Irene, I lost all my astrology books, all my astrology charts that I had done my whole life. Gone, just gone. And a lot of tarot cards, a lot of tarot card decks just out the window, just gone.
That's sickening a little bit.
Well,
I have to say, though, let me interrupt and say, those of you who have not had an astrology reading with Colleen, the cool crone, have been missing something, because I had one. What do you call that? You foretell. You say it's for 6 months, but mine went out to like almost 10 years. Future forecast. Okay. So I have things exactly as she told me. She said, well, it looks here like you're going to be booking your vacation in March. And then she said, it looks like you're going to go in September or October. And she told me this. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a while since And when did I do it? Right when she said. When do I fly out? Right when she said. It's like,
that is so awesome.
I mean, how could you be so spot on? I'm like, there's no way I could book that late for this trip to the UK. How could I wait till March? How is that even going to happen? It happened. And it was, I got so many discounts on this trip. And I think you even mentioned it about that being, it would be, I have to go back through now, and I've already done it. I've done I played it back and get a transcript and mark it all out, so I really track it all. But I mean, you guys, she's the real deal, and unbelievably accurate information, detailed information of things coming. So I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you what the secret of that is that it isn't all just astrology.
Yeah.
That's the secret of it, is that once you can you can zone into the symbols on the
Yeah.
page, you can figure it out.
Yes.
In fact, I one of the one of the comments I got on one of the I did a video about the royals and
Mhm.
what was going on with them and William, and I had, when I was setting up the charts and everything, I had erased a number out of William's birth date, and I had his birth date wrong, so I had the wrong chart. But the reading, I didn't really use his chart because I looked at it, and on some level, I realized it wasn't what I was looking for. And so I just did it all intuitively.
And I bet it was so spot on. It was unbelievable.
I
Because
think so.
let me just say, Colleen has made predictions on the polyterology shows that have been coming true, one after the other. So you might want to tune in to those shows and
Right.
hear, because things are coming out of her mouth that are big predictions.
The
That
thing
end up
that I
coming
find
true.
that's so interesting there is that I'll say something and I know it's like a year out. I know
Yeah,
it's like way out. And
sure.
everybody else will be like, no, it's not going to be that.
But it happens.
And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I don't say anything. I just kind of go,
Like,
oh, okay, you're probably right. But
I mean, you guys wait for it, because Hakeem Jeffries was predicted by Colleen to be coming in very shortly. That was a while back. Now, all of a sudden, Linda G and other readers are all saying, oh, well, it just looks like he's coming right in here. He's so close, and all this stuff. And I'm going, yeah, we knew
yeah,
that way back.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was great. Cuckoo. It was cuckoo,
Yeah.
And you don't always get hits like that. I mean, and
Yeah.
people want to see the hits. What's happening next week? What's happening next month?
Yeah.
Tell me that, I'm going to get the job in 6 weeks. But sometimes you get things that are just, like the missile whistling over the land.
Yes, that's it. Right. You don't know exactly when the missile's going to land, but you got it. You know it's going, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's Hakeem. I knew that.
That's
And I
Hakeem.
think that was last summer. I'm pretty
Yeah, I
sure
think it was last summer.
I think it was
And you
last
said
summer.
exactly what's happening now. But
Yeah.
you've done that a million times for different things. I
Oh,
haven't tracked it all, but
well, I believe you then. If you say it, then it must be true.
it is true. And so, you all are, might want to tune in to polyterology and all the other great videos that you do, Colleen, on astrology. Really important information for the eclipse, for all kinds of things that come up. If you want to know the energies of what's happening, you'll want to tune into that. And she makes it really interesting and fun to listen to. And you get to listen to her sexy voice. Yes.
I'll tell you, my favorite video of the eclipses that I did is the one where I got to get into the astronomical ins and outs of what is an eclipse, what causes it, how is it happening like that. I loved that.
I love that. I love the sciencey stuff behind all of it too.
Yeah.
Because it's really grounded information. And Amanda Carroll says, and she's in our corner. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's great. But
I had been feeling like, gosh, nobody's watching the astrology videos. Maybe I should just like back out of that. And then I think it was A-Dub said, well, I never get any notifications on that. And I was like, boy, I'm not putting up notifications.
You have to promote yourself, and promote the show so people will know.
I'm used to the live ones, and StreamYard kind of does that for you. And when I line up the live streams, I do the promos right then and schedule them. But with the astrology videos, I guess I feel like I don't know quite when they're going to go out because like catch can. But no more. I'm going to notify.
Because, we need to know these things.
I know.
And you might even want to have one of your daughters do the short for the astrology soundbite. Get it out there because people go, oh, where did this come from? I've got to go see this whole thing.
There you go. Yes. From your lips to God's ear. Yeah.
I think so. I want to say, everyone, go to the Cool Crone if you have not already subscribed, please do so now. Join her phenomenal membership, and you can be part of the coven, and you will be able to, I don't know if you have it open now, where you can pick 2 different levels.
Yeah, there's 3 levels.
There's 3 levels. So,
Yeah.
so you can pick your 3 amongst the 3 levels of how you, what you want to do. But we just, Colleen had her first meeting this morning, actually, or for you, it's the afternoon, but it was phenomenal. It was really fun, on Zoom. So you really get that personal attention.
Everybody can be on. Everybody
might want to sign up for that, because that's something, I mean, you get a face-to-face. So, so thank you all for being here. And Colleen, thank you so much for part 2. It was really fun and wonderful to hear about you and everything that you bring to humanity with all your gifts and information. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know you're my hero. So all of you, I want to say thank you for being here in the chat. You guys are awesome. We love you all. And thank you for being so supportive. And we're going to say goodbye for now and catch Colleen on the Cool Crone. And I'm on some of those shows.
You're on a lot of those shows, Val. I love working with you.
I do too. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And I look forward to that every time. So thank you all for being here. And we're going to say goodbye. See you later.
Bye.